We're not going to be taken advantage of anymore. And I think it's important the president is doing what he's doing. Now, look, it looks different ways and comes in different forms, whether you're talking about Canada or China or Mexico. We know that Mexico has allowed the facilitation of the illegal drug trade and illegal sex trafficking for years and has done nothing about it.
Great progress has been made. We're talking about cutting over $1 trillion of waste. We're talking about waste. We're not talking about we're going to love and cherish Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. We're not going to do anything with that other than if we can find some abuse or waste, we'll do something, but the people won't be affected. It'll only be more effective and better. And our country, as our country gets richer, the people on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, those people are going to be more secure. If Biden had gotten elected, Social Security was going to fail because the country was failing. It was going to fail. The country was going to fail.
The way we're going to save our country isn't through greater dependence on our government, but instead actual independence from it. It's not through victimhood, it's through victory. It's not through whining, it's through winning. And so I think reviving that culture of self-reliance and determination. That's what America was founded on. Right? We are the pioneers and the explorers. Our founding fathers, they were, like many of you in the room, entrepreneurs, businessmen who believed in the importance of a country that stood for excellence and for freedom. If we have that cultural change, in many ways the politicians are just responding to the cultural demands of their electorate. But if we're able to change the cultural demands of our electorate by reviving our sense of identity and pride in who we really are, it'll become that much easier for the politicians to cut the level of spending.
You love your family, and then you love your neighbor, and then you love your community, and then you love your fellow citizens in your own country, and then after that, you can focus and prioritize the rest of the world. A lot of the far left has completely inverted that. They seem to hate the citizens of their own country and care more about people outside their own borders. That is no way to run a society. And I think the profound difference that Donald Trump brings to the leadership of this country is the simple concept, America first. It doesn't mean you hate anybody else. It means that you have leadership. And President Trump has been very clear about this, that puts the interests of American citizens first.
And anyone that thinks my 16 years of service isn't exemplary on how I would proceed if confirmed as FBI is intentionally putting false information into the public ether and creating more public discourse. The only thing that will matter if I'm confirmed as a director of the FBI is a de-weaponized, depoliticized system of law enforcement completely devoted to rigorous obedience to the Constitution and a singular standard of justice.
There is a lot of reporting out there that is putting the onus on this White House for the increased cost of eggs. I would like to point out to each and every one of you that in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65% in this country. We also have seen the cost of everything, not just eggs. Bacon, groceries, gasoline have increased because of the inflationary policies of the last administration. As far as the egg shortage, what's also contributing to that is that the Biden administration and the Department of Agriculture directed the mass killing of more than 100 million chickens, which has led to a lack of chicken supply in this country, therefore a lack of egg supply, which is leading to the shortage.
It's time for the United States to return to the system that made us richer and more powerful than ever before. Do you know the United States in 1870 to 1913, all tariffs, and that was the richest period in the history of the United States, relatively speaking. In other words, relatively. And they set up the Great Tariff Commission of 1887, and this commission had one function: what to do with all the money that we took in. It was so enormous that they had no idea. It was a blue ribbon committee. It was set up 1887. And what to do with all of the money that we had. And again, Teddy Roosevelt was a beneficiary because when McKinley was killed, he took over this vast sum of money and he did all of those national parks and all of the other things. And I'm not knocking him, but he was given a vast amount of money. And that was all made through tariffs. We had no income tax. The income tax came in 1913. As I said in my speech last week, instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. Does that make sense, right?
And I think one of the takeaways of just my time the last week being the people's vice president is they should have higher expectations for their federal government. I talk to so many people who will say, in effect, well, it's the federal government, oh, the bureaucracy, oh, the red tape. No, 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 no. The bureaucracy and the red tape is not an excuse for the government to not do its job. We're not going to be perfect. We never will be. Government is as fallible as the people who run it, but we can do a heck of a lot better than we have over the last few years, and that is something that President Trump and I are committed to doing. And let me just leave you with one final thought. I know that a lot of the people watching in the local news, look, this is a part of our country, Appalachian, Virginia, that has been ignored and left behind for decades, for generations in this country. Again, we're never going to be perfect, but I promise you that this administration will not forget you. We love you, we're rooting for you, and we want to be part of this incredible recovery here in Southwestern Virginia. God bless you guys.
This is a country founded by immigrants.
But just because we were founded by immigrants doesn't mean that 240 years later that we have to have the dumbest immigration policy in the world.
It's the motherfucking Eagle Double G. Snoop Dogg.